watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
And thank you for being here. 6 a.m. on your Friday. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Nada Irampour. And we want to start this hour with that forecast. As you've been hearing all week, right? Things are going to heat up. Yeah. So let's check in with Evan and see, what are we looking at today?
Well, I wanted to switch it over to our camera outside because we're starting to finally see that clearing occur a little earlier than we have for some of our past mornings. So this is that view outside right now from Mount Soledad. If we were checking in on this about an hour ago, that cloud cover was covering the entirety of the screen. You couldn't make out anything at all. It was just a gray blob. Now you can finally see that gradient as the sun was rising about 5 minutes ago. So we're watching as those clouds ideally break apart a little bit quicker. We've had some warm overnight lows, mostly in the 60s out there. At Carlsbad right now at 60 degrees. San Diego at 61. One monitoring site at the International Airport at 62 right now. But by the afternoon, we're warming up really nicely to the 80s and 90s out there. Santini and El Cajon, 91. 85 for Vista, 89 for RB. Coming up, we'll talk more about tomorrow's peak temperatures and then about the cool down that'll come after. Back to you.
Ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me as we continue as a church, as a community of friends of Jesus, as believers, to announce the good news, to announce the gospel.
The new Pope Leo XIV led his first Mass with cardinals this morning as the new leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. He will be formally installed during a Mass on May 18th and will hold his first general audience on the 21st.
He is the first American Pope born in Chicago and is a dual citizen of the U.S. and Peru. He's also the first pontiff from the Augustinian order. Augustinians are involved in pastoral, education, mission work. Tina Kraus with the latest from the Vatican.
Joy and anticipation in St. Peter's Square this morning as Pope Leo XIV led his first Mass with cardinals at the Sistine Chapel.
Fratres agnoscamus peccata nostra.
The white smoke billowing from the chapel chimney on day 2 of the conclave Thursday revealed the historic election. Soon after, Cardinal Robert Prevost appeared on the balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square as the first American-born pope.
Oh my God, it's Rob.
The election of the 69-year-old Chicago native surprised even his own siblings.
You know how some kids like to play war and be soldiers? He wanted to play priest.
And we just teased, you're going to be the Pope.
Pope Leo XIV is the first pontiff from the Augustinian order, and the heart of that group came through in his first blessing as he urged people to build bridges, embrace dialogue, and show compassion through charity. The new Bishop of Rome spent much of his life in Peru, even gaining citizenship. Friar Ramiro Castillo describes him as a simple, quiet person. In the U.S., the reaction to the first American pontiff has been anything but quiet. From the White House.
That's a great honor.
To Prevost's alma mater, Villanova University.
I heard the bells, and it was just a really surreal experience.
In Chicago, a friendly battle between the two hometown baseball clubs, both claiming the new pope as a fan. Tina Kraus, CBS News, the Vatican.
Yeah, Sox fan, apparently.
Yes, for those of you wondering, Pope Leo's brother confirms that. He's a White Sox fan. Meantime, we're learning about his ties to us here in San Diego.
He visited St. Augustine High School, a local private Catholic school for young men, several times over the years. The school's chaplain says the new pope was briefly his director of formation, a position overseeing religious education in the church. He also says when Cardinal Prevost visited during his time as the general of the Augustinian order, it felt like a visit from the president.
It was always a very special moment when he visited us here at Saints. He's very calm, he's a good listener, he's persuasive, he's incredibly intelligent, just a great shepherd and a very good man.
By the way, morning show viewer Jeanette told me about this connection,
Yeah.
so I'm glad we were able to go visit and look into this. An Instagram post, the high school says that the new pope's presence at Saints left a lasting impression and that they are proud, inspired, and praying for his journey ahead.
Criminal, Dr. Wood, you will be recalled.
Ooh, things got heated there this morning. The Grossmont Union High School District moving forward with dozens of layoffs.
Yeah, these cuts include teachers, librarians, counselors, and support staff. CBS 8's Regina Yerita live at Grossmont with more on where this process goes from here now. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, I can tell you that this was a heated debate, and just an hour before that school board meeting, a rally took place. The Grossmont Union educators, librarians, counselors, and even students were all there showing that strong opposition. But despite those pleas to ask the district to reverse course, school board leaders moved forward with those job cuts.
Choice to make. You can go forward with this and do the damage, or you can step up and reverse all the layoffs. The choice is very clear, and our community is watching.
Please, I urge you to reconsider these cuts, not just with your minds, but with your hearts.
And so you can see the frustration, tensions running extremely high, with educators upset to know that they will be facing layoffs. More than 60 positions will either be eliminated or reassigned, including 19 counselors and 9 of the district's librarians. This all started back in February when the Grossmont Union High School District School Board announced the proposed job cuts to help close a nearly $2.4 million budget deficit. Superintendent Sandra Wesso has said that these cuts are necessary in the face of declining enrollment and long-term budget challenges.
These are incredibly difficult decisions, but in my view, they are necessary to sustain and ultimately strengthen our educational programs.
And we should mention that this was a 4-1 vote, with board member Chris Fite being the only one to vote against those job cuts. Fite, for a second time, tried to make an amendment to rescind these cuts, but he never got a second motion. Now, as far as those final layoff notices, that will be taking place on May 15th. Erica Netta.
Okay, Regina, thank you very much for staying on top of the developments there. This morning, a man is in critical condition after being shot by police. Authorities say he was using an axe to destroy property inside the Pacific Beach Library. The Sheriff's Department has taken over this investigation, and they did release new details overnight. So here's what happened. They say this all started about 4:20 in the afternoon. The Sheriff's Department says San Diego police officers ordered the man to drop the weapon, that axe, but he did not comply. Authorities say one officer fired multiple shots and hit the suspect. He is expected to survive.
This morning, 2 men accused in a deadly human smuggling attempt are expected to appear in court. At least 3 migrants died after the small boat overturned in Del Mar on Monday. A 14-year-old boy from India died, and his 10-year-old sister is missing and presumed dead. Julio Cesar Zuniga Luna and Jesus Ivan Rodriguez Leyva are charged with bringing in aliens resulting in death and bringing in aliens for financial gain. And today, the National City woman who was once honored as Teacher of the Year is expected to be sentenced. Earlier this year, Jacqueline Ma, a former teacher at Lincoln Acres Elementary, pleaded guilty to 4 charges of sexual misconduct with 2 minors. She was arrested in March of 2023. The victims were under the age of 14 at the time. She faces 30 years to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
This morning, 37 probable and confirmed cases are now being attributed to the Salmonella outbreak linked to Aladdin Mediterranean Cafe, the restaurant in Claremont area. County health officials say at least 5 people have been hospitalized. Everyone who fell sick reported eating at Aladdin between April 25th and May 1st. Investigators are still working to figure out what exactly caused the outbreak. If you ate at Aladdin between April 25th, and May 1st, and then you got sick, you should consider calling a health care provider. That might help them pinpoint why this happened.
Evan providing us with a live look of 2 great options, the beach or a pool.
I mean,
here this weekend, right?
I'd say by the time we get to the afternoon, that's just about the only place you're going to want to be if you're spending time outside. Coastline is a very popular spot. We still have a little bit of fog that you can see out in the background here. But what you can also notice is that gradient as far as what we see from kind of the base level of the background view all the way up to the sunrise out there. We're starting to see more and more of that light appear. So that cloud cover is not nearly as dense as it has been for past mornings, but it is inundating the coastline in general. Right now, west to the 5, pushing towards some of our western valleys, but generally, again, this is an issue that we're facing just along the immediate coastline. You see how El Cajon is at a perfect 10 miles of visibility, Ramona at 5, but you get out to Carlsbad and we're at less than a mile, Oceanside's at less than a mile, Kearney Mesa right now, 1.7 miles of visibility. So there's still plenty of trouble out there as far as fog goes, but that's only going to last for about another hour before we start to see some at least lifting of those clouds, and then we'll likely see a complete clearing of those clouds by the time we get to 10, maybe even 11 a.m. 80 degrees as that afternoon high out by the beach for tomorrow afternoon. Today, our afternoon high out by the beach is going to be close to the upper 70s, very similar to what we'll see by Sunday. The difference is that Sunday is going to incorporate a good amount of cloud cover out there. So for today, we have the cloud cover in the morning. By the afternoon, we get sunshine. For tomorrow, we'll have some patchy AM fog, PM sun, and then for Sunday it is likely to be the cloudiest of days that we have ahead because we have our trough of low pressure slowly sinking in our direction. That's going to cool us down. You can see how those temperatures slide from Saturday all the way through the beginning of next week. Much more dense marine layer to start off next week, and those temperatures are back in the mid-60s by the time we get to Tuesday. Let's take a look at traffic, see how your roads are so far this morning. Biggest impact, road weather index, is going to be related to the fog. So if you're up in the Oceanside area all the way down through about Encinitas, you could possibly be running into some of that fog along the 5 freeway, along the 56 this morning. We earlier were tracking a stalled vehicle. That's that pickup truck sign that you see by the El Cajon area, but not causing any major backups. It looks like they've been able to clear that lane there. But besides that, it is actually a smooth start to our Friday morning commute out there. Let's take a look at your border wait times, where it is a 95-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry is going to take you about 100 minutes, so they're both very similar this morning, faster than this time yesterday, and taking you about an hour 30, hour 40 in total.